What's going on, guys? Munir Capital here, financial markets and psychology, and today we'll be talking about the third video of the ultimate blueprint to trading Forex. Now, last video we talked about managing capital, preserving our capital, and executing our system flawlessly. In this video, we're going to be talking about how to make decisions in the markets using scientific based studies. Things like implementation intention specifically and emotional regulation. Let me tell you a story of a couple when I started trading. For the sake of confidentiality, I will be going with the name Alex and Sarah. Alright, so this couple and 2-day traders who adopted distinct decision-making styles, one of them followed a well-crafted plan, while the other didn't. The first trader, Alex, was a meticulous planner. He spent hours researching and analyzing the market, formulated a comprehensive plan, and followed it rigorously. Alex never deviated from his plan, even if he faced unexpected market trends. Instead, he adapted to his strategy to ensure it aligned with his overall plan, helping him make informed decisions and avoid impulsive trading decisions. On the other hand, Sarah took a slightly different approach. She made spontaneous, often made impulsive trading decisions. Sarah believed in her ability to think on her feet and come up with quick solutions, but this approach also exposed her to risks and losses. One day, both traders faced a crucial decision. Alex referred to his plan, thoroughly assessed his options before making a choice, while Sarah acted impulsively. The results of their decisions were vastly different, as you can imagine. Moral of the whole story: relying on impulsive decisions may seem exciting, but it also exposes traders to having risks and losses. Having a comprehensive plan can help traders navigate volatile market trends and make informed trading decisions. In terms of this video, we'll be talking about implementation intentions. And what implementation intentions is in a nutshell, all it is two letters: X and Y. If X happens, then I will do Y. So basically 2 words: if and then. If X happens, then I will do Y. In terms of humans, our short-term survival orientation will always compromise our need to take the long-term approach when trading. And what this means is that as individuals, we will always struggle to make a patient decisions. Remember that small, smart decisions applied daily lead to astonishing results, and we often can get blinded by chasing short-term results to feed our extrinsic motives, in a sense. People who live for other people's acceptance or validation often die from their rejection, so it's always best to have intrinsic motives, especially when it comes down to trading, because it really comes out in your performance results. A wise man once said, "The world has enough for everyone's needs, but not for everyone's greed," right? And that, I believe, Gandhi said that. So it is, let's pay our respects when it's due to Gandhi and actually utilize one of his quotes to actually help us become better traders. In terms of implementation intentions, it consists of 2 AIs, artificial intelligence and ancient intelligence, emotional regulation, and our triple A's: attacking, avoiding, and approaching. In terms of artificial intelligence and ancient intelligence, we're using code and experience to make the best decision in any given event. So using if this happens, then I will do Y in terms of our system, and then also using our basal ganglia. Our basal ganglia is probably the first part that was developed in our brain, and it actually helps us put repetitive decisions on autopilot. So we'll be using artificial intelligence, implementation intelligence, and then we're going to go ahead and use ancient intelligence to go ahead and set in stone the habit, right? So it'll be hard in the beginning, but as soon as it gets myelinated into our basal ganglia, we can start seeing performance results. in terms of consistency. Like I said before, small smart decisions applied daily lead to astonishing results. When it comes down to emotional regulation, we want to prioritize breathing and mindfulness first when focusing on psychology. So first, let's define emotions. Well, emotions from a neurological standpoint are biological action potentials which have the ability to coordinate activity in between the organism, which is our self as the trader, and the environment, which is the markets. And we're going to be looking at either attacking, approaching, or avoiding the markets. Now, let's talk about artificial intelligence plus ancient intelligence. So, you have to train your body and mind to approach motivation if you want to manage uncertainty and probability, and we want to review our trading intentions twice per day. So, in a nutshell, what we're doing is we're combining all these different pieces of information into our trading system, right? So, in terms of implementation intentions, we want to correlate our trading strategy with, for example, when we're on the 4H time frame, we want to wait for our demand zone to get our demand zone equilibrium point to get mitigated. So we're approaching the charts with the motivation of observing. Then we are avoiding the charts with the motivation of avoidance because price did not tap the equilibrium point of our demand zone. So if price doesn't tap the equilibrium point of our demand zone, then we will avoid. This is how we approach decisions of uncertainty with an underlying motive rather than having our fight and flight choose that motive for us, right? So in terms of my trading intentions, if there is a change in market price, I will then breathe deeply. Breathing deeply actually helps us slow things down and not give rise to feeling from our thoughts. Then, if I witness a change in market price and breathe deeply, I will then use disciplined curiosity to follow my long-term beliefs. So this correlates with our system once more, and we're taking that feeling or that energy / emotion to disciplined curiosity, which is a form of delayed gratification and will feel mundane. So we must practice that thought pattern using our basal ganglia to help us myelinate that thought pattern. Although, remember, it will be hard in the beginning. It's going to be much more difficult to suppress the emotion of having the thoughts of giving rise to fight or flight. My next implementation intention, as an example, is if I make a trading decision, then I will not check price until the session is over or an alert has been tapped. So we are again avoiding for some time after we approach or even attack. So we approach, attack, then we avoid. So we're constantly avoiding the charts, and that's the motivation behind things. Now let's talk about emotional regulation. We don't want the thought of making something happen immediately. We don't need to make money right now. Rather, we want to take the long-term approach of our system and execute flawlessly. So how do we slow things down? So in terms of our sensorial input, what goes on over here, that's actually our environment changing. So everything that's uncertain within the charts, that's hitting our thalamus first, which is our gut level analysis, which kind of puts us in shock or analysis under paralysis under a second of not really knowing what to do, since our basal ganglia has not been conditioned to make any given artificial intelligent decision, right? So if it lacks direction, it will automatically feel a risk of survival, especially when your world views and your internal motives as trading is kind of weak in a sense, where it's putting you in a weaker psychological state. So if you're not aware of mindfulness and you're not breathing when there's a change in market price, naturally your thoughts will go towards a strong link of your amygdala, which is an instinctual response to threat, and that causes you to be reactive because there is a risk to your survival, and we don't want to do that. And it'll take 12 seconds for thought to give rise to that feeling. Rather, what we want to do is slow things down, we want to analyze whether we are shaking or tensing up and breathe deeply. And then we want to observe our trading intentions, our implementation intentions. So regardless of what's happening in the charts, we should already have a specific, if this happens, then I will do Y. So say I come into the charts one morning and I see price in a overextended market. I simply want to follow the directional bias and wait for a demand zone or supply zone on the 4H time frame to get mitigated at equilibrium. So I am simply just avoiding the charts and breathing while I make that decision, rather than simply wanting to jump in and make something happen, which will put us in more pressure. And the more pressure we have, the more we are open to making decisions based on our amygdala. So we actually want to reduce the chart time, which is why I like avoiding the charts of often. Charlie Munger actually says not trading and sitting on your hands is often the best trading, right? So now let's talk about our triple A's. So how do we condition our mind and body to approach emotions with motivation to manage uncertainty? Well, that's easy. Through artificial intelligence, we implement implementation intentions, and then our small smart decisions applied daily lead to myelinating our basal ganglia, which will cause us to approach emotions with motivation consistently, and that will help us manage uncertainty in the future, because it is supposed to be uncertain with our worldviews. And now, how do we practice mindfulness and discipline for trading? Well, we want to optimize our life for clarity, energy, willpower, and multiply that by focus, for example. And that will help us become mindful and help us actually myelinate our basal ganglia. So what I mean by optimizing our life in those categories, like clarity and energy and willpower, is by just reviewing my last video. We talked, not my last video in terms of risk management, but my first video in terms of harmonic wealth. We talk about increasing our spiritual health, increasing our mental health, our physical health, because our physiology also correlates with our mental state and how we make decisions and things like that, right? Over here we can see our gut level analysis is where the information comes into first. So if we are not healthy and the engine that will take to where we want to get to is not healthy, then everything else will also be jeopardized. So we also want to focus on becoming high performance individuals outside of trading, and that will all actually help us feed into making high performance decisions in trading, because it's not easy to trade, right? It's not easy to trade. So we want to turn our whole world into our library and approach trading with enthusiasm, because nothing was ever achieved without full enthusiasm, right? If you're not actually working on things outside of trading, you're not truly committed to trading, right? Now, how do we interrupt the power of emotion with our empowered mind? Well, we simply breathe, right? We simply breathe, and we're mindful, and our spiritual connection to, whether that's our creator or whether you're an atheist and that's the universe and you're meditating or whatnot, you simply breathe and you increase your clarity. If you don't have a specific awareness and clarity in life and how you approach any type of decision, you will not be able to compete with others in the markets, and it's really just an awareness game. So if you are struggling to get where you want to go for quite a long time, there's probably that awareness gap of how you actually make decisions. If you want a free Notion documentation on actually how I approach my trading system, I actually give a if this happens, then I will do Y type of scenario for basically everything that's quite possible in the markets based on my experiences. And like literally, if artificial intelligence took this implementation intentions, it will be able to make decisions, right? So that's basically where technology probably has to go for everything to change. But if you want to mix your ancient intelligence, which is your basal ganglion, what you have in your brain, with artificial intelligence, with also a proven system with data, then you can go ahead and shoot me a message on Discord or shoot me an email at capitalmunir@proton.me, and I'll send you that, because I'm here to give, right? So stay tuned for next week's video, Sunday, and we'll be talking about technical analysis, and I'll be collaborating with my business associate, Kendall FX. Thank you guys for watching this video, and you lot have an amazing trading week.